Why do businesses that compete by having the lowest prices consistently face the highest bankruptcy rates? When I look at the history of global markets, perpetually lowering prices to beat the competition is almost always a direct path to insolvency. I want to show you the exact pricing framework that the ultra-wealthy use to completely separate their income from the hours they work. By the end of this video, the hidden mechanics of luxury pricing and human psychology will be completely decoded. The common assumption is that cheaper products attract more buyers and generate significantly more total revenue for the owner. But observing the markets proves that chasing volume without a high profit margin just leads directly to exhaustion and failure. I experienced this exact reality firsthand during the second half of 2025 while building my own businesses. I executed a rigorous 6-month plan to generate a minimum of $1 million using a low-ticket, high-volume model. I systematically published my products, expecting the sheer volume of output to translate directly into high capital. However, my personal realization was completely different. Despite creating high-quality assets, the low-priced model resulted in exactly 15 organic sales. The net profit per transaction was between $10 and $15. To reach $1 million, I would need well over 100,000 individual sales. I realized that acquiring 100,000 customers requires tens of millions of views and massive, highly unsustainable conversion rates. This experience proved to me that competing on low prices is an incredibly inefficient way to achieve true high-margin wealth. I concluded that the only logical path forward is to provide the highest possible value at a premium price point. This shift requires moving away from a volume-based model to a premium business structure based entirely on the magnitude of the problem you solve. The reality is that closing one single premium client is much more sustainable than managing 50 low-tier accounts simultaneously. And if this reality seems shocking, wait until later in this video when we break down the exact step-by-step pricing structure. Right now, we need to analyze the psychology of premium pricing, exploring the phenomenon where human beings actually want to pay significantly more. If we look at the elite luxury watch market, we can see that higher price tags naturally increase how much people desire the physical asset. This is known as the Veblen effect. The human brain subconsciously uses the price tag as the primary indicator of an object's true quality. Market history shows that when the price of a Veblen good increases, consumer demand actually increases right alongside it. Consider the pricing structure of elite luxury handbag manufacturers currently operating at the highest levels. The raw material and manual labor costs required to produce the physical bag are a microscopic fraction of the final retail price. Consumers are not actually purchasing the physical leather. They are acquiring the psychological status and the perceived exclusivity. If the manufacturer suddenly lowered the price to match the production cost, the perceived value would collapse, and the demand would evaporate. This exact same cognitive bias applies directly to complex consulting, specialized services, and advanced educational frameworks. An individual looking at a $10,000 service subconsciously assumes it is vastly superior to a cheap $100 alternative. My observation is that pricing a high-value transformation too low actively generates suspicion and repels the most qualified individuals. This principle of concentrated, high-value architecture is exactly how the most complex global systems need to be deconstructed. For example, understanding true wealth requires mastering the theoretical foundations of money, from fiat currency to central banking operations. This is exactly why I built the Applied Macroeconomics Protocol. It is a precise, 10-module deconstruction of the entire global financial machine. The course covers the exact mechanics of quantitative easing, fractional reserve banking, and sovereign debt cycles. It is designed exclusively for those building true sovereignty, and the link is in the description. Returning to the mechanics of pricing, we must now transition from the psychological theory to the literal, step-by-step application. We will now break down the exact framework required to successfully transition your current business offering into a highly profitable category of one. The vast majority of business operators incorrectly calculate their pricing based directly on the total number of hours required to deliver a service. This time-based model limits revenue capacity because there is a strict ceiling on the available working hours in any single day. Market observations show that the ultra-wealthy completely ignore the hours required and price their assets based strictly on the magnitude of the problem solved. If a specific framework solves a $10,000 inefficiency, the physical time it actually took to create that framework is irrelevant to the buyer. We can analyze the exact structural difference between a standard $500 commodity service and a $5,000 premium solution. The commodity model competes by offering more hours of manual labor, while the premium solution offers a faster execution of the exact desired outcome. By engineering a specific, highly optimized framework to achieve a targeted result, the business operator completely removes their offer from direct commodity comparison. When an asset cannot be directly compared to another item, price elasticity increases significantly, allowing for massive high-margin sovereignty. The highest possible profit margins are achieved by leveraging scalable intellectual property and high-leverage frameworks, rather than relying on unscalable manual labor. A truly sovereign business model relies entirely on maximizing profit density per transaction, maximizing the financial return on a single, highly optimized asset. But restructuring the baseline price point introduces a completely different variable: the behavioral psychology of the premium client. Analysis reveals that clients who pay $5,000 exhibit entirely different operational behaviors than those who pay $50. The common assumption is that premium clients demand significantly more operational time, but the reality proves the exact opposite is true. The specific demographic paying the absolute lowest prices consistently generates the highest volume of operational friction and customer support inquiries. This occurs due to a cognitive bias related to financial commitment. A negligible price point creates zero psychological leverage on the buyer to actually execute. When an individual allocates a substantial amount of capital to a solution, their brain is forced to justify that heavy investment through immediate action. The individual who pays a premium price has a massive incentive to execute the provided frameworks to quickly recover their initial capital. Conversely, the low-ticket demographic statistically drains the most operational resources, creating a massive hidden cost that destroys the profit margin. Charging less does not proportionally reduce the operational workload. It actually multiplies the sheer friction required for every single dollar earned. This structural flaw is exactly why high-volume, low-margin business models inevitably experience severe burnout and insolvency. Achieving true financial sovereignty requires the complete elimination of these high-friction, low-margin transactions from the business. By intentionally pricing out the lowest-tier demographic, the business operator immediately reclaims hundreds of hours of previously lost time. But knowing this framework is useless without addressing the final variable: the psychological transition required to actually execute this pricing strategy. The primary barrier preventing operators from executing this premium strategy is the deep psychological fear of intentionally operating with a shrinking customer base. However, decreasing the total number of transactions is the exact structural requirement for achieving true operational sovereignty. The basic equation proves that securing 2 premium contracts requires a fraction of the operational bandwidth while generating the exact same total gross revenue. When an operator successfully restructures their offering to a premium price point, they will experience a massive, immediate reduction in their overall conversion rate. This sharp drop in total volume is absolutely not a failure of the business model, but the exact intended function of the high-ticket architecture. The premium price acts as a barrier, filtering out the high-friction demographic and exclusively attracting the demographic with the absolute highest probability of execution. By implementing a premium pricing structure, the operator builds an automated filter that perfectly protects their highly valuable operational time and energy. This requires a complete psychological recalibration, shifting the operational focus entirely from acquiring maximum broad attention to extracting maximum absolute value per unit. The reality is that true generational wealth is not accumulated through low-margin mass-market appeal, but through highly concentrated, massive profit density per transaction. Restructuring your prices is not simply a marketing tactic. It is a fundamental, ground-up architectural redesign of the entire business mechanism. The information presented throughout this analysis confirms that the path to true wealth requires the complete abandonment of the low-margin, high-volume commodity model. By entirely replacing the exhausting pursuit of high transaction volume with the deliberate engineering of massive profit density, an operator permanently secures ultimate financial sovereignty. The math shows that you do not need hundreds of thousands of individual transactions to build a massive enterprise. You only need a highly concentrated, premium architecture. Leveraging the cognitive bias of premium pricing is the exact mechanism the ultra-wealthy use to permanently separate their income from their time. Since you've stuck around till the end of this video, it's clear that you found this topic intriguing, and I think you'll definitely want to check out the videos popping up on your screen now. They explore even more fascinating topics in finance that might just challenge your perspective. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos that break down complex and foundational topics in finance. Thanks for watching.